Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for another ICA's Insight in Saudi Arabia. Good afternoon, Dr. Vivian. Thank you for joining us today. Today's topic in particular is very special as we focus directly on academia within our industry and how we are advancing academic engagement. With Dr. Vivian, we will delve into a realm of advancing academic engagement within the events industry in Saudi Arabia. As the industry continues to flourish, there is a growing need to foster collaboration between academia and industry professionals. By exploring strategies and initiatives to enhance academic involvement, we aim to elevate research, education, and professional development opportunities for Saudi nationals, thus contributing to the overall growth and success to the events industry in the kingdom. Dr. Vivian holds a PhD in political science from West Virginia University, USA, an MSc in political science from Oklahoma State University, USA, and a business graduate diploma from Burgundy Business School, France. Previously, he served as Director of International Affairs and Assistant Professor at the Royal University for Women in Bahrain. Doctor also was known as also an adjunct professor, right, at Battle and ESSEC. Am I saying correctly? It's ESSEC,
Yes, yes, it's
AGU
indeed.
MBA. And before
Correct.
Bahrain, you also worked in Washington, D.C. and at West Virginia University.
Yes.
You are a passionate opera and a traveler as well, and is married with two sons named Noe and Eme. Eme, correct?
Correct,
I'm
yes.
pronouncing the name correctly. I know it's
Yes.
French name.
Yes.
Dr. Vivian currently serves as the executive director of the Saudi Entertainment Academy in Riyadh, which is an initiative under Vision 2030, General Entertainment Authority, and Technical and Vocational Training Corporation, which is shortly known as TVTC, sorry.
Yes.
SIA trains Saudis in the sector of entertainment and provides continuing education programs to the local companies in the sector. It has several key relationships in the MICE sector, including an agreement with Saudi Convention and Exhibition General Authority to be the training arm of the authority in KSA in relation with leading international providers such as ICA itself. The Saudi Entertainment Academy is also a part of the Colleges of Excellence under TVTC, is a strategic partner of the Human Resources Development Fund, and SIA offers diplomas, associate diplomas, and short courses for fresh graduates and professionals. Additionally, SIA collaborates with ICA to provide essential skills tailored to the KSA market under the ICA Skills banner. To give you a brief on ICA Skills, it is developed by ICA and designed by the industry experts for the industry. It delivers, it is the only one which delivers globally recognized certificates in every sector of the meeting industry. Without further ado, let's dive right into conversation with Dr. Vivian. So, Dr. Vivian, what are the current academic programs and initiatives that Saudi Arabia is aiming at fostering engagement with the events industry?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and it's really good to see you again, Andrew. Let me first of all praise you because you have been so active in the fields in the MICE sector as the representative of ICA, and always trying to find ways and ideas to promote education and training in a new sector, which is the MICE sector, so the Meeting Incentive Convention Exhibition. So some of you might wonder why an academy was supposed to focus on training for the entertainment sector is somehow involved with the sector, the scope of ICA and the convention area. Well, the reason is simple because we were born, Andrew, as you mentioned, as kind of described, to support the training needs of an entire new sector under quality of life under Vision 2030. And what Vision 2030 and especially quality of life try to promote is to improve the daily lives of Saudi citizens, right? So having said that, what does it mean? It means having venues, right, where Saudi can entertain themselves, have access to culture, go to theme park, and discover their own country. Right? Discover their own country, meaning that promoting Saudi Arabia as a destination. And what could be a better way to promote Saudi Arabia as a destination if it was not through the convention exhibition sector? And this is exactly what this is about. So in Saudi Arabia, you have different ministries and authorities with all the same goal of showing to the rest of the world what Saudi Arabia is about, what Saudi Arabia has to offer, and the huge wealth in terms of human capital and what we call Arab hospitality, right? So Andrew has probably talked to you guys about what's happening in the Emirates, right? Maybe you heard through the different ICA chapters the exciting stories about other Gulf countries and, of course, other European nations. But Saudi is this, I don't know, it's the latest jewel because it's a very, of course, ancient civilization. But Saudi Arabia has so much to offer in terms of not only hospitality, in terms of diversity of culture, and of course, many, many business aspects with 13 provinces across the country who all have something to offer. So having said that, the Saudi Entertainment Academy, in coordination, for instance, with the General Entertainment Authority, is developing program related to the entertainment sector on the operational aspects. Now, when it comes specifically to the MICE sector, we signed an agreement with the Saudi General Exhibition Convention Authority, KEGA, whose aim is to develop the MICE sector. Right? So what SIA does, they work with leading international partners and international providers to propose training programs, most of the time funded by the government, like a body that you call the Human Resource Development Fund, whose goal is to make sure that fresh graduates or people on the job have the necessary means to upgrade their skills or to develop certain skill sets. Right? So this is true for the MICE, this is true for entertainment. Then, of course, you can talk about culture, and SIA has the mandate, of course, to look into music and look into film, into cinema. And of course, you probably realize behind the screen that, oh, actually all comes together. The pieces of the puzzle come together, right? I go to a convention in Jizan, I go to a convention in Dahan, or I go to a convention in Riyadh. So what do I do after the meetings? Well, maybe ICA or another provider will organize a visit of the Kingdom Tower, right? Or maybe they will take you to Diriyah, a beautiful place showing the heritage of Saudi Arabia, the foundation of the country. Or maybe in the itinerary they build the tour of Al Ola, right? Another treasure. So all of that is connected, and as you see from the way it all comes together, where you tap the culture, you tap the diversity, you tap the expertise, and eventually develop infrastructure who could host various events with the idea to showcase Saudi culture and Saudi heritage.
Thank you so much. That was such a great initiative that you have already started, Dr. Vivian. And I think you already have touched a little bit on various collaboration, and you've already mentioned that you are enhancing your collaboration between academia and the industry professionals. So what is SIA's specific role, or how do you envision enhancing this collaboration in order to elevate the research and the education standards of Saudi nationals?
So it's interesting because you always look at different stories, from other countries, right? So the vocational model that you talked about, Andrew, it's been around in Europe or in India or North America or Asia, but in Saudi Arabia, it's pretty young. In the Gulf in general, it's a pretty young
Very
tradition.
new.
Yes, you
Yeah.
have 44
Yeah.
academies under TBTC, but we still don't have a apprenticeship model that we used to see.
Mm.
We can see in Europe, but Saudi again is looking into that. So what I'm trying to say to answer you is it's always important at this stage of the development of the country and under the vision of the Crown Prince to make sure we always have a close linkage between companies and between academia, right? So it's crucial to understand that, right? So, for
Yes.
example, we would use the expertise of certain universities, right, who bring something to the table and say, okay, we have an excellent short course or diploma on event management or destination management, something very familiar to the people in the MICE sector, and it can be offered within an academy with the sponsoring of the government. And of course, you have to tweak it, right? Or what you can do, and this is how to answer your question, you can go to a professional association, right? So
Mm-hmm.
ICA, for instance, or let's look at entertainment, IAPA, for instance, right? So professional bodies who have access to a large network of professionals who also have something to contribute. And of course, how do we get the reality? Because sometimes you think, oh, universities or schools are a bit disconnected. We constantly in contact with this association. We bring back information for the members or the companies who tell us this is where you should go. We have an advisory board, for instance, who tell us the main directions of training and the main needs. Or we run surveys, right? Surveys about, okay, what do you think? What are the most important jobs in the next 5 years? Right? So it could be event manager, it could be a crowd management officer, right? So this is how we can then go to authority like Skiga or Ministry of Culture and say, hey, you need people capable organizing a convention in esports, right? And this is
Right.
what this is about. So basically, it's getting all again the different baskets or different sources of information together, and this is what I think Saudi is doing really, really nicely in a very short time, right? It's like a big catch-up effect. So especially if you have members listening to us in Europe, in Asia, everything is moving very quickly here, but it's moving in a very intelligent way. And again, Andrew can confirm that with a lot of thought in
Yes.
what we're supposed to do. Not rushing, but understanding what's been done, what's been a success abroad, what can be better, and how we can reconcile it.
Right. So you are already collaborating with ICA and you're collaborating with probably other associations, and you have their programs already built in your syllabus, right? I mean, you do provide information to anybody who would like to do these courses through your academy. But I also hear that you have, I mean, we came across each other last year, and then you became a member of ICA, and you are
Mhm.
one of the first academic community from the region
And
who
we're proud of
has
it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we're very proud of having Sia on board, and we also are aware of the various funds like the HRDF fund that is empowering to have 11,000 or maybe more citizens in the exhibition and conference sector, which is probably demonstrating Saudi Arabia's dedication already to nurture talent and expertise in this industry. And so, how does Academy plan to ensure that its curriculum aligns with the evolving needs and trends of the events industry in Saudi Arabia, and also tapping into the the overall vision and the training fund that is accelerated because of the mega events that Saudi Arabia is going to probably host in the near future.
Yes. So yes, as I mentioned earlier, we are constantly on the move, right? So what I think it's important to for the listeners to understand what's happening in this market. We're not in a model where every September we're going to offer a similar program for a cohort of a certain size, and we're going to do that for the next 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for universities or association of providers who are interested in doing business here, you have to understand, you have to be very agile and attentive to the needs of the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it needs so that's why I think this is the exercise is a bit acrobatic sometimes, right? And Andrew, you've been through this as well in the region, where you have to think about what's the proper planning, right? Who are we trying to train based
Of
on a
course.
strategy that has been,
Right.
let's say, we can talk about Skiga, but for the listeners, again, we have other ministries, mega project entities who also have kind of a long-term strategy of visibility. The strategies tend to evolve pretty quickly, right? Sometimes they are being redefined,
Mm-hmm.
and what's the best option. So to answer the question specifically, what we do, we would plan. So we get content, right, from ICA, for instance. So we go from university. For instance, we developed an associate diploma in conference management. We get it
Okay.
approved, and then we go to HRDF. So it's kind of like a
A process.
stage
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
And then we agree with HRDF that we deem as an academy, because, as you know, we're close to the field, that we
Mm-hmm.
should at least train 100 individuals or 150 individuals by the end of the year. And then HRDF would allocate the funds to this project. So
Right.
good association that ICA is partner, working with or know about in the field, and we say, okay, we'll develop a series of short courses, or we'll develop a 3 month format. So again, to be constantly attentive to the needs of the market, and of course, targeting or imagining that by the end of the year we should train a certain number of individuals based on budget availability and based on needs. So yes, it's important to have a clear strategy and to be aligned with the strategy of some of those providers and understanding their needs. And again, understanding those needs might change, whether it's because of a change of leadership or because the countries, maybe we neglected that route. We should focus on the other route, right? So I'll give you one last example. Since I've been in Saudi Arabia, I've noticed that there was a major focus when I joined the academy on fresh graduates, but more and more, the government has also understood, and again, it's applicable to the MICE sector and other sectors, that it's important to train people on the job, right? People want to upgrade their skills. I'm in Jazan, I'm in Khobar. I would like to have a very professional looking convention center. Or, I'm thinking about maybe there's an issue in terms of crowd management or budgeting. So therefore, I go with SIA, we develop a program, and SIA with ICA can offer something to train people already in Khobar or Jazan interested in developing this particular sector.
Right. So, I understand that you have the funds right now to train right from the scratch, but is there like a separate process for the continuation of the education, or is it something that you do it at the first hand and then it's the next stage is on job training or internship, externship, or do you also have like the entrepreneurship programs that you run for your
Yes.
yeah.
So you are right. We are operating on several fronts because again, for the listeners, this is a dense ecosystem here when it comes to entertainment, attractivity, destination management, the MICE sector. You have several players. So you have authorities, you have ministries. Ministry of Tourism, of course, has something to play. Ministry of Telecommunication and Technology, maybe you don't think about it right away, but they're the one who's very much involved in esports, for example, right? And what could be a better place to host esports tournament than a convention center? Yeah, you see how the equation comes together. You have an esports federation. You have different commissions under the Ministry of Culture, right? So we're looking at those different audiences, Andrew. That's true, and ministries and authorities understand that as well. So, for instance, there was entrepreneurship incubators, accelerator, where we have programs to support them. And as an academy, of course, we have a role as a consultant, and sometimes we come and we give advice, right? Within the trainees, when you're asking, do we fit people in one category and that's it? Are they stuck? No, they're not. They can take an associate diploma. They can be entrepreneurs themselves. And we had a DJ. So this guy was a DJ. He was very successful. He was mixing in Egypt. He was mixing in Bahrain and Saudi. He's like, you know what? I would like to have my music studio one day, right? So that's why he thought he would be in the associate diploma, right? We had people from Protocol. So Protocol, again, it's very familiar to folks in the MICE sector, right? Working for Ministry of Environment, nothing to do with entertainment, but they were interested in team management, crowd management, because they organize major events at the Ministry of Environment. Right? So all the skills, for instance, from ICA skills and different modules can apply not just to a narrow category, but obviously to a larger category of people organizing events in a public setting or in a private setting.
Right. So now that you are with ICA, I mean, how do you foresee, other than of course, you're a full-fledged member, and you do understand that ICA is an aggregator of association meetings, and we are trying to grow the Middle East, and we want to get more and more meetings in this part of the world. So we have now launched the academic universities. They can become a part of membership, and then we are doing a fixed model for universities, and you have access to 2 scholarships from your institute, and to send them to attend to the event, which is going to happen in October. And how do you plan to have this to students? Because they have to be a CICS or a CICE, or a full-fledged diploma students of SIA. So do you already have this program in place for the students to apply? And then, it's just how you would do it as your experience. We would like the other universities to follow, right? So we want to ensure that we have more universities joining from the region.
Yes.
And how we can grow ultimately the capacity, right? We're trying to increase talent within the region, because we are such a small region. We can reach out to each destinations where they are capable people. So how do you foresee that?
Okay, so I think there's like 2 aspects to it. So number one, for fellow universities or academies who might be on the call today, what's interesting in a new sector, in a developing sector, is sometimes the access to data and a network. So the beauty of being part as an institution, as you Andrew said, and Forso, that it's important for educational institutions to become member. You have access to a network individual. You have access to resources, right? You have access to events. So all these events, whether you're a scholar, whether you're a student, you will or a trainee or an apprentice, you will definitely get a lot out of it, right? So what the SIA, and I don't know if we're a pioneer, but what SIA has done, for instance, we send, I know you asked me about students, but I'm talking about also our colleagues, our trainers, who need always to be on
Continuous.
top of their game, we send
Yeah.
them to an ICA skills course, for instance. We nominated a couple of guys who are in event management, conference management. So basically, they can share the knowledge back to the classroom with the
Mhm.
training. One of the biggest challenge for us and in this sector is for the youth is to understand what is my career progression going to be if I become a convention specialist, right? So if I join the
Right.
sector, what's going to happen 4 or 3 years from now? So of course, with the ECAS skills concept and the different types of module and the progression, you have a sense of that, right?
Right.
So we have a role as educator to tell them that. There's an informal role, but so important is for those different events is to have the trainees involved. So if we have other universities on the call this afternoon, understand that always take advantage of those conventions and seminars who come to Riyadh. What we've done as an academy, we send our trainees to be ushers and volunteers. So they see the backstage of what it is to organize a major event. And these are huge events for two,
Correct.
3 days, and
Yeah.
that's it, when the entire region come together and the
Right.
world come together, right? So I went to ICAS Skills in Doha, and it was amazing in terms of the wealth of knowledge, right? Because I got to learn about so many speakers and expertise, right? So this is exactly what when you take advantage to the regional congress or the events. So then what we tell the students, take those courses, take advantage of it, right? We encourage them, we sign them up to take
Mhm.
this, so then they can eventually be part
Select that
of this.
as their career path in the future.
Yes. And then what Andrew had done and had proposed, say, you know what, let's identify some of the best most dynamic trainees or students being part of the youth association, right? And have them attend,
Yeah.
with a scholarship or with an opportunity, have a seat on one of the events,
Yeah.
and see what it's like to be deep
To have the
deep in
live
it, right?
experience. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So this is what I recommend to university, that the access to network, the access to professional, the access to events. And the example I gave you earlier, what was interesting is it's a network. The event I
Yes.
went in Doha was not ICA, but it was organized by another provider. But then I got a lot of develop our relationship with ICA because we listened to other stories and professional from I don't know if it's a small family, but people know each other and you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
rely on each
It
other's
is. It
expertise.
is. Yeah. Yeah. It is. It
Yes.
is a small family, and I think. Thank you so much, Dr. Vivian, for sharing your insights, and it will definitely resonate with many universities who are also, trying to align with the destination's vision, and we are beyond tourism trying to build a new business events portfolio under the
Yes.
the guidance of our leaders. So I think that is going to go a long way, and I really want to thank your time today and to enlighten our peers, colleagues, and hope we can soon meet again in Riyadh and deliver some courses together and create this history.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just one last word on my part for those universities and academies maybe who are listening to us today, is to really open up, to be curious. And, this is the best time to promote this wonderful nation. There's so much energy, so much ambition, so much, great drive.
Yes.
And if you move to the West, so we don't have to bother so much about the nitty gritty of the politics. Like, people are really following a great path. And this is an opportunity for you to send, even if you're abroad, to send your students here to understand what's going on, to have projects with other universities and institutions, and really have a close relationship with a strong network association like ICA. It will really take you a mile ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Dr. Vivian. Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye.
Bye bye.